Hello and welcome to the Bre podcast, where we talk about whatever Bre wants to talk about. It's your girl Bre, it's me, and this is the first ever video podcast. Excited. Okay. I'm normally an awkward person, and then talking to a camera, which you would think after all these years of selfies, I would be a little bit better at, but apparently, oh no. Oh, sorry, it's a little sensitive. Rest in peace of the queen. Anyway, let's talk about the MCU because I am so sick and tired of these fanboys nonstop beep nonstop complaining about She-Hulk and just like pretty much everything in like the comic book superhero genre and TV and movies right now. I think this is a safe space to talk about it, right? It's a safe space. I just realized now that you could see my setup through my glasses. Anyways, you know what? Listen, I don't gatekeep. I don't like judge how other people bread their butter, you know what I mean? So we're just gonna keep going on, right? So I have always loved. Hello and welcome to the first ever video Bre podcast, where we talk about and not watch her talk about whatever the hell she wants to talk about. It's your girl Bre. Thank you for joining me on this momentous occasion and for bearing with me getting used to the camera. And if you're an audio listener, then you're not going to really understand what I'm talking about, love, but it's okay. Too soon. Anyways, rest in peace to the queen. Anyways, I really want to talk about like superheroes and comic book genre in general and movies and television, because I feel like I reference it a lot and I don't really like talk about it on my podcast. So if you're not interested in it, hopefully you find some value, right? I've got to stop with the accent. I'm sorry. It's really hard to turn off. So I've always loved comic books, right? Like I think the thing about them is that they're kind of like low-key novellas, just with better fight scenes, quote unquote. I mean, I guess when you're reading on the page, it's whatever in your mind's eye, but it's like, oh, but then they got a secret twin and a secret lover, and they got married behind their back, and then they're the princess, and then like there's so many it's just pure drama. It's drama, 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 drama. No matter what these like. I feel like, and we'll talk about later about who are the fans reading and consuming this media, but it's drama. I think there's a reason why there's a lot of like female, like older, like a lot of my family likes comic book movies and comics, and they're all, women of a certain age that you would not think would be interested in Superman, but we are, for more than just the looks, okay? We look beyond the looks and for their valor and character and what's it not, and non-shallow value reasons, right? Whatever. Sorry, I'm getting over like a little like scratchiness of the throat because I'm very delicate. But I feel like now when we talk about superhero movies, talk about MCU, which is Marvel's Cinematic Universe, and there's like the Burrito Cinematic Universe, which is like my Instagram that I refer to, right? But the totally different things. There's like this whole superhero fatigue, right? Because you need to have watched like all 10 of the MCUs, and then to get the new reference, and then you gotta stay for after credit scene, and you gotta remember. And like I understand that, but like I remember like when Spider-Man Tobey Maguire came out, we'd always watch that and we're like, oh, so Fantastic Four was busy that day. Daredevil was busy. He couldn't stop from his lawyer job to help Spider-Man out. Like, I don't know, I feel like they're like people forget that frustration when you are a fan watching all these like individual movies come out. Like even, I mean, X-Men was cool because it was more than just like the one X-Man. It was X-Men, right? It was multiple characters, but it's like in the comics, they all live in New York, which what kind of hellhole is New York? That y'all need like 45 superheroes for one city. Okay, I know New York. Okay, New York's actually a big state, like apparently, and just the city part is like on the maybe we'll put a little picture of New York. It's just like the little clip in. It's still, I mean, it's a large city. Millions of people live there, right? I'm not saying that, but the state is large. I mean, I think there's a lot of nature and such, right? But you have 65 superheroes, and it's still crime ridden. I don't know if I'm the first to make the observation. I'm probably not. It's like, oh, hey, Daredevil, thank you for saving New York. Oh, I just do Hell's Kitchen, which sounds scary, but it's just a block or two. I don't know how big Hell's Kitchen is, but. And they're like, what? Oh, yeah, there's like 5 superheroes for every block. And you could still get robbed all the time? Yep. And now they have the Avengers Tower and stuff like that, and Spider-Man's. So they have to worry about aliens and Godzillas. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Like, just, it's too many. And I know, like, the practical reasons, it's like, like a lot of the writers at the time were from New York. I think I just think it's real crime ridden. Not as bad as Gotham go. Gotham's a shithole. And they just got like one bad guy with a bunch of unaccompanied minors. Hello? CPS? Why are they fighting crime? That's why I feel like I'm going over the place. But if you have not watched the Harley Quinn show on HBO Max, which, another sidebar, how are they ruining that app? That's like the best app out of all the apps. It's the only one I actually pay for my own self and not just piggyback on someone else's. I actually pay for HBO Max. And they're not doing so good? Mismanagement. Something's going on. Corruption. Conspiracy theory. Anyways, I understand the superhero fatigue and that you need to watch a million other things, but I feel like it's becoming closer and closer to what it was really like to actually read the comics, right? Because when you read the comics, it's like, you have all this prior knowledge and other characters exist and you understand this. So now, like, the movies, it's like, I feel like it's a very similar-esque experience, minus the whole imagining things in your mind's eye, right? So I think, I still love it, right? A lot of people like those movies, and I think it's never not gonna not be cool to me to see like those heroes and those characters you really love in real life, moving around, crossing over, doing stuff. Like, this latest Spider-Man movie was amazing. If you haven't seen it, it was in the promos, but they got all 3 Spider-Mans: Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. It was fantastic, especially if you grow up watching those movies. It's just never not gonna not be cool. I'm sorry, it just can't, right? And I think it's like, I think we just need to like I think people need to lay off. Like, if you don't like it, then just don't like it. But I think because these it's more than just Batman, Superman now. And then even then, it's like everyone knows Iron Man now, but like, yeah, he was a really big Marvel character, but he wasn't Superman level popular. He wasn't Batman level popular, right? Hulk was way more popular. X-Men was way popular. And that kind of, like, this has introduced a whole new way to have these characters in the mainstream, people enjoying them, and now they're going in deeper and deeper cuts. And it's kind of opened the door for a whole new genre of comic-derived media. Some of my favorites, if you guys haven't watched, which I'm sure you have because they're really, really popular, is like Umbrella Academy, which was, I think, co-written by that one guy who is he's an emo. Chemical Romance, not Chemical Romance. I was never an emo, so fake fan. But that's like, it's so like trippy and so it's a really unique show. And I think, like, I think if they said like, oh, let's make an Umbrella Academy movie in 2011, they couldn't. Who was the audience? But now we're like, wanting something different and unique. Another show on HBO Max that's really, really good, I highly recommend, is Doom Patrol. I feel like it's really, really underrated. It has what's her name? Brendan Fraser's in it. And I believe the original comics, because like a lot of like Umbrella Academy, Doom Patrol, it's giving very X-Men vibes. But if I'm not mistaken, I do believe Doom Patrol came out in the comics before X-Men. So it's a little bit like, excuse me, X-Men copied them. But that one is again like both Umbrella Academy and Doom Patrol are very like otherworldly, and like random stuff happens for no reason. And it's kind of like dark, but like finding at the same time. But I would say Doom Patrol really, I think, pushes the boundary into obscurity of random like shit happening, right? Highly recommend. And then we have, which I like, this is where it comes into like the cheesiness, and like that's why I like so there's a lot of like DC Comics mainly does shows on CW, formerly known as WB, right? Like Flash, Arrow, and they're, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's like that kind of campy um soap opera like production quality, like a million episodes. But that genre lends itself so well because there's so much drama. There's so much dramas, right? So in that vein of kind of like halfway super gritty, halfway very campy CW show is Titans. And if you love Teen Titans, I think you're gonna really like this show. I like. I will just warn you, Blackfire is a bit of a predator. Blackfire, which is Starfire's sister, a little bit predator vibes, not Alien versus Predator, if you know what I mean, right? But that one is just kind of like it's just super cheesy. We get all the Robins, and I won't spoil it for you, but Crypto the Super Dog makes an appearance, and he's like the best character. And now we're like moving away. In my recommendations of like opening doors is like shows derived from comics that are not necessarily superhero related. Lock and Key, they just had the last season on Netflix. Fantastic program. It's a little bit dark horror, not necessarily Stranger Things vibes, but in the sense where it's like children in serious danger situations, but then going about handling it as a child would, which I think is always really fascinating. And I feel like that really kind of like saw something in your, like, I don't know if it's healing your inner child or like something to that extent. I think that's why I'm kind of drawn to those programs. I'm like, how would I handled it as a child, right? So, and then the latest one that just came out, that is more kind of like horror. That like I would say Lock and Key definitely is more horror vibes genre, but Paper Girls that came on Amazon Prime is definitely sci-fi. Fantastic program. It is about these girls in the 80s, kind of Stranger Things vibes, which I think the comic came out before Stranger Things. So like it's just like a lot of stuff is like, oh, they're copying them. It's like actually they were the one copied, and now they can like come out because they're popular. Like it was like one succeeds, they can all succeed. So it's like no need for hateration, you guys. Like no need to sip on the haterade. There's plenty of regular Gatorade to not do haterade, right? But it's about these four girls who are paper girls, they distribute the newspapers, and they're in the 80s, and then hijinks and shenanigans, they end up in the modern day 2019, and they gotta find their future selves. So it's quite literally like confronting your inner child. It's really, really good. I can't recommend it enough. So we kind of like talked about what I'm recommending and like my general opinion on this genre, but now I want to like focus on who is watching this media, right? Who's watching this type of content? And I don't have any stats in front of me. I don't have any demographics, but from what my peepers peep on Twitter and in real life, because you gotta look at there too, right? I feel like the majority of the comic viewing viewership are like white cis fanboys, not always white, but usually very hetero fanboys that like they're the type of dudes that like go to Disney World all the time, but then if you try to call them a Disney adult, they get really offended and they just like critique it and like, oh well, they ruined Star Wars, blah blah blah. But I'm still gonna go see the new movie and still go to the theme park, blah blah blah. Blah. It's like, bro, just admit you like Mickey Mouse. Like, why do we play these games? Like, you like going there. Like, you bitching about you going there and how much it sucks or they don't do this and don't do that, but you still go. I think somebody likes Krabby Patty, Squidward. Like, just admit you like it. And then another big group is a lot of LGBT people and younger people and Gen Z. And I will say this because I do have some firsthand knowledge in this. I used to actually work for a comic book publisher. I'm not going to name the names, but I had to do a lot of like scouting of artists for this publisher and writers, and like a vast majority, like if you think those Tumblr kids who would do fan art and fan fiction, you don't think they just did it for funsies. Like, no, these people are working in the industry, in the animator community. A lot of these communities are very small on the professional side. A lot of them are gay. I support 1,000%. So it's like you have like one audience that like a lot of it is like making it, participating, are like super like queer, welcoming, alphabet mafia. And then you have the other side that is like, I hate everything, women, I'm so cool, you see where it conflicts. And then I think you have another subsect that's smaller, that is like women that also like drama, soap operas, novelas. I think a lot of that, because like I think a lot of that is watching that too. So it's like the group that like, so these are men that are like so assistant, you would like that are so hetero, right? Aggressively hetero. Nothing wrong with heteros. I'm hetero. Okay? So I'm one of you. I'm coming to you as a peer. We're both alphas. I'm an alpha. You're alpha. I'm hetero. You're hetero. I'm coming to you with peace and love, right? Is that you insist like that these are such a masculine or such a straight activities, but it's like super buff people running around in spandex, having secret love, fighting wars for love and justice in the American way. For those that are audio only, you could tell my face what I'm meaning to say. So my problem with these fanboys, as I'll call this, stereotype of people, right, is they get so butthurt when they do these castings for characters and like movies that they make them either like gay when they weren't gay in the comics or a person of color. And they get so angry. They got so pissed off, right? And when I first like see these things, I'm like, bro, like why are you so like you're against them, right? You're against any progress, you're against people of color, right? Yada yada yada. And then I kind of came from it from a place of compassion. That I remember when Gossip Girl, the show came out, and I had read the books, I was pissed because Jenny in the books is so clearly written as short, curly hair, big chichis. Huge chichis, uncomfortably huge chichis for how short she is, right? And who they cast a player? Taylor Momsen. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. The little girl who grew up to be an emo from The Grinch with Jim Carrey. Her. And I was livid. I was so mad. And this came out, I think, when I was in high school. And I did not watch the show because I was so pissed about the casting until years after it had aired. It already finished airing. And when I finally watched it, I finally gave in. I was like, all right, let me just watch it, give it a chance. It was different from the book, but I enjoyed the show. And I didn't even miss that the character looked different. And I think that's the lesson. Is like you're gonna have to like just understand that this new form of media is going to be different than the one that you enjoyed. It's its own different entity. It might be inspired by the books or the comics that you love, but it's not the same thing, or even another TV show or the movie. I think you can appreciate it for what it is, and it's hard when you really love a character. Like, I get it. I genuinely understand. And now a lot of this when happens is there's like you have to look at what the source material is. And source material is it's a very, very white source material. There are some heroes that are people of color from like a long time ago. And there is uproar whenever they cast those characters as like an actor with lighter skin tone or not the same culture and etc. etc. And I feel like those fanboys like, well, see, you don't like it when your characters get replaced by people, so why do you get mad at us? And I think the answer is obvious. It's like, comics is a very like white character dominated, white industry dominated space. Like, you guys are the majority. It's called taking one for the team. If you're not familiar with that, it's called taking one for the team. And I think that's what it means with the characters. Like, I think there is like room to like discuss, um especially when that happens when they like take a dark person of color character that's darker skin tone, and then they use an actor that's a very light skin tone. I think that's a problem. I think it's an issue. But I think it's like a lot of, for example, not even comics, but for Ariel and the new live action Little Mermaid, I think it's Halle Bailey or Chloe, one of them. People are really pissed because like Ariel is seen as Caucasian, Anglo-Saxon redhead. Halle Bailey is not. And I think it's just like we have to let it go, you guys. It's not integral to her character. She's a mermaid. Mermaids can be anything, okay? They can be a man. You ever heard of merman? Right? And I think there's some like room to criticize like when the tones shift. Like, for example, the Winx Club, that the show was super femme, super crazy, super light, and then the Netflix live action version is super gritty, which I was never really a fan of Winx Club to begin with, right? So like I just can't speak on that, but I think there's something to be said that like it's so drastically different from the source material. But again, I think we have to accept like things for being different for how they are, and if we like bitch enough as a community, we can have things change. Because because like media, Hollywood, I hate calling it Hollywood. I know that's what it is, but like that's just so annoying. Like, oh, Hollywood, like, yeah, you like producers and studio executives. Like, I don't know, that feels like very weird. But anyways, if we bitch enough to say we'll spend money on something, they'll do it. They will do it. So when we have new shows on Disney Plus, like Miss Marvel and She-Hulk, and people saying, oh, it's so campy, or it's so, ruining the MCU about how feminist it is, then it's just not for you, bro. It's not for you, because this shit has been existing in the comics, in the audience, in the fans. I think it's just like a little bit too sensitivo. Like, I think it's really fine, right? Um, so yeah, my big opinion, just like get over it. No, it's okay not to like something, but I don't think it's ruined the whole MCU. Like, you're still gonna watch it, dude. You're still gonna watch it. You're still gonna watch all the movies. You're still gonna go to a theme park. Let's not pretend like you're not. If you want to have fun bitching about it on Twitter, it's a free internet for now, right? So this portion of the podcast, I've always wanted to explain the MCU on a podcast just from my memory, because I'm usually the explainer. And by my knowledge, it means I watch YouTube videos that tell me all the things I'm missing. But I haven't really watched them all in a while. So I think it's going to be funny. Especially if like you've never watched it and you're like, what are these movies about? So here it is. Me explaining all the MCU spoilers ahead. I'm going to just spoil it. So hopefully you watch them all, or like don't care enough to, but care enough to listen to me explain it to you. Okay, here we go. And so, Hydra, which was the organization that bombed the Steve Rogers when he became Captain America. Oh, by the way, they called him Captain America. That was his name, right? They were disbanded, or so we thought. Pin in that for later as well. Boom, we're in the 90s. New movie now, Captain Marvel. We're in the 90s. And there's this little blonde girl, that everybody tell her, you know what? You can't do that. You're too little and you're too blonde. She can't hit the bat. She can't pass flight school. She can't join the military. Well, guess what? She does all those things. And her name is Carol Danvers, played by Brie Larson. Okay? And we see her, and she is in, what's about the Skrees? And she's part of the Kree, or so she thinks. And the Krees are racist against the Skrulls. And the Skrulls are a green people, aliens. This is space, by the way. We're in space. The Skrulls have pointy ears, and they can shapeshift. And so the Kree have been strategically killing them. They say they're bad, but then later we find out they're not bad. It's really the Kree that are being the racist and alien genocidists, right? But Brie Larson, Carol Danvers has like these lightning powers. Excuse me. Sorry, there's a lot of talking. And that's where like energy blast kind of powers that come from her fists, and like, I don't know, the Kree's got a lot of stuff going on. But anyways, lo and behold, she crashes on Earth looking for some Skrulls. And Skrulls are hard to catch because they're shapeshifters, so they're real hard to catch. Anyways, she meets up with a young Nick Fury. Who is Nick Fury, you might ask? He's Samuel L. Jackson, and he's a badass, and he's a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. And as I told you, S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing a lot of stuff. So, anyways, bada bing, bada boom. Turns out that, like, Carol Danvers is not a Kree, after all. She's a Humie. And she was a Humie who was in the Air Force and had a best friend who had a daughter. And she was, like, really cool with the daughter and the best friend. And her, like, scientist commander, I don't know, military rankings, turns out she was actually the Kree. And she had the Tesseract. Oh, I totally forgot that the Tesseract was in Captain America. Oopsie poopsies. So the Tesseract is this square blue thing that can like have a lot of power. Like if you like it would charge your phone in half a second. It's like real powerful. You can also travel through places with the Tesseract. And that's what Hitler had with Hydra, but then S.H.I.E.L.D. got it after Captain America made the sacrifice, whatever. Right? So, anyways, Carol Danvers, like commanding scientist officer lady, was an experiment on it. And then the experiment, they did a test flight, whatever, it went awry. And actually, Carol Danvers, her lightning powers, are not from the Kree. They're from the Tesseract, and they can't take it away from her because they said they could take it away from her, but they really can't. And lo and behold, she fucks them up, and Jude Law's in it, and he gets his ass kicked. And then we learn that, Nick's thinking about Nick Fury, which you haven't seen this, you probably have because you're listening to this. He got an eye patch. And everyone's like, oh, what happened here? What happened here? And so we find out he gets scratched by a space cat, but the space cat is like a real dangerous varmint. So he loses his eye and he gets a cool eye patch. Click next movie. Iron Man. We are now in the 2000s, right? So remember in Captain America when I said there was a guy named Stark dealing with the super soldier program? Well, that was this guy, Tony Stark's papa. And his papa started a weapons manufacturing company. They're like wealthy billionaires, like super, super rich, selling weapons to people. And Tony Stark is kind of like a doucher Bruce Wayne, like a Wayne, Bruce Wayne's already a douche, but like this guy's like a douche, like, but not pretending to be a douche, because like Bruce Wayne pretends to be a douche, but he's really just like, don't care, wants to be Batman. This guy is like core asshole, right? Core to his soul. So, anyways, he's doing this demonstration in the Middle East because it's 2000 after 9/11, and that car gets bombed. He gets kidnapped because he's super rich, and he gets some shrapnel in his heart. and he's in this cave from with a terrorist, and the guy that he's with is a scientist, and they help him create like this like heart, like, or this energy, like it's like a battery for your heart, because he's got some shrapnel on it, and they're in a dirty cave, and the terrorists are like, y'all need to make some weapons for us or we're gonna kill you. And then Tony, being real smart, he makes himself an Iron Man suit. Well, we didn't know it was Iron Man yet, but it's a suit of armor like knights. You know what I'm saying? Gets out of there. The doctor guy dies. Super sad. And eventually he like makes more iron suits, more sophisticated, and he kind of feels so guilty, and he finds out that the terrorists were actually using his weapons, because he thought he was only selling it to like America or like foreign nations, but like I guess someone in his company was selling it to the terrorists. Basically he was like making money from both sides of war, which is like, Tony, even if that wasn't the case, shouldn't you feel a little bit guilty if you're so worried about this? Like, right? Anyways, that's for another later philosophical talk. Anyways, he's like Iron Man. Click to Iron Man 2. So Iron Man 2, Tony actually also has a bestie. Like, pretty much everyone has a bestie. And his bestie is Rhodey, who works for the military. He's like some military ranking. Again, I don't know those, so you'll have to take my word for it. And eventually he gets his own suit, and it's called War Machine, right? And then in this movie, I'm trying to think what's important. Oh, so he gets an assistant, but it's not really an assistant. It's a SHIELD agent named Natasha Romanoff, who is named Black Widow. She is a Marvel hero that is just like, she's just a regular lady. She does have some enhanced powers. I guess she's like a little bit stronger because later, I mean, put a pin in that, but like she's like a really good spy and a really good fighter. Put a pin in that. Okay, next movie that I remember the least is The Incredible Hulk. So why I remember this movie the least, I don't remember it being very good, and they actually ended up recasting the Hulk. So originally they had Edward Norton, who is a Scientologist. Take that information what you will with it, and they replaced him in the later movies with Mark Ruffalo, who is a baddie certified. So all you need to know is Hulk. So okay, you know how we talked about in the beginning of this, the super soldier serum, right? And it worked really good. Like Captain America, like was probably the best case scenario. Like he's like super strong, very durable, right? Um, and because Hydra blew it up, they blew up the formula and they killed the scientist, the main scientist guy who created it. And so ever since World War II, so many countries, so many scientists have been trying to recreate this dang old formula serum, and with varied results. Lots of varied results, and no one's been able to make it as good. So, this scientist fella, Bruce Banner, alliteration, he is tasked with recreating this super soldier formula, and he does it with gamma radiation. But lo and behold, things go awry again, and he becomes like this giant green, kind of like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation, and he is named Hulk or Hulky, and he's green. You know who the Hulk is, right? Anyways, his main girlfriend is this lady named, I think, is it Betty Ross? And her papa is a general. And of course, the general don't like that his little girl is hanging with Hulk, and it's like super awkward. And he's always trying to kill him, and he works for the government. Okay, next movie, Thor. Oh crap, Thor. Okay, anyways, so Thor is this handsome fella who is played by Chris Hemsworth, who is like long, beautiful blonde hair, and he's just like super hot, right? Now we're getting a little more complicated. So, you know how like every culture has like gods and stuff like that? Well, the Norse, which I believe are the Norwegian and Swedish areas of the world, have their own gods. Turns out they're real. They just live on a different plane of existence, I believe. Maybe a planet. It's either planet or plane. I'm pretty sure plane. Anyways, from Asgard. And so yeah, they're like Norse mythology. So Thor is like the god of thunder and also lightning because they go hand in hand. And just Asgard, like just the thing of Vikings and like, you know, not sent whatever critters they got, dark elves, that kind of vibes. And on Earth there's Natalie Portman, who's a scientist. With I believe is her name Kat Dennings, or is that a character? I think it's her real name is Kat Dennings. It was her assistant, and then her other like mentor guy is that Swedish guy. I forgot his name, but he plays Eric Selvig, and then he is the papa to the actor that plays it in the new It movies, not the old It video movies. Him. And yeah, so Natalie Portman is like into Thor, and then he has this hammer named Mjolnir, and you have to be like the thing about Thor is like he's a god. He's like lightning powers. He's strong. He can live forever, pretty much, unless he gets murked or not sick, murked or yeah, just murked. He can be killed, but it's real hard to kill. And the thing about Thor is like he has his hammer. His papuli made him a hammer because he's such a dumbass. And it's just whoever can hold this hammer can get all your powers. Just because like why not? And the thing about it, you have to be worthy. And what does that mean? You just gotta be a good person. And like when Thor dropped it, because he's being a little douche lord in Asgard, he couldn't pick it up again. He couldn't pick it up. And so he's got a brother named Loki, who is low key really conflicting. So he turns out he was adopted. I don't remember if you know that in this movie, but you just gotta know he's adopted. He's actually a frost giant, but because he like lives on Asgard and stuff like that, he like looks like a normal Asgardian, which really look like normal ass people. So they're really not that different. Anyways, now we're in the first Avengers movie. Oh my gosh, so many things going on. So I did forget to mention that in all these movies, there is like after credit scene, meaning there's a clip after the credits. And like I mentioned, Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, he becomes the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. after the 90s, right? And he wants to create something called the Avengers Initiative. What is that, you say? Well, it's a task force of enhanced individuals, superheroes, in case there's like aliens or a lot of bombs or something crazy. Something crazy always happens on Earth. I'm telling you, the one thing the Earth's gonna do, it's gonna have something crazy happen to it. So all these been happening behind the scenes, and you remember Loki, Thor's brother, who we just talked about? Well, he got booed off Asgard for being a little bitch. So he like finds this like rando alien named Thanos, and Thanos is like a big old purple bitter Bessie. And because Thanos is so bitter, I mean we'll find out later really his reason why, but just know he's freaking bitter as hell. Is he wants to take over the universe, and he really needs the Tesseract, which is that glowy cube that was in Captain America and Captain Marvel. Okay, he really needs it. And so Loki, being the little shyster he is, he says to Thanos, his rando, he's like, hey, if you like give me an army or whatever, I'll just go get it for you. And Thanos is like, I guess sure, why not? And he gives him this scepter that has like this yellow stone in it, or like this blue stone, or it's got something in there. Remember it, it's important, okay? So Loki like goes to the Earth, and he's just like overall being a nuisance and a menace, like killing people, destroying monuments, and then he like mind controls Hawkeye, who is this he's a shield, like there's there's like a few shield agents that are basically spies, like they're all spies and badass, but it's like a few of them get like their own little thing about them. You just gotta have to be unique and quirky. So his quirkiness is he's like really into a bow and arrow, and he's like really good at it. I think Green Arrow could beat him, but that's a different universe. Anyways, so he mind controls him, and like Iron Man doesn't like to play by the rules, Tony Stark, but then he's like, oh no, I can help you guys. And then, oh, by the way, they found Captain America. Remember how in the first movie I told you in World War II he was on ice? Well, turns out they found him in Expedition, and he got defrosted in 2015. 2015 or 16, whenever the first movie came out, or 2012. I don't remember what year. The point is, he woke up in 2010's times. What? That's so crazy. He was just in World War II times, and now he's in our time. That's so wild for him. Anyway, so it's like Shield brings in them, and then Black Widow, who is a woman spy, who's like the badass fighter. You'll see it in this movie. She's like, she takes so many of those fools down. Anyway, you got her and Captain America. Oh, so they bring in Hulk because he's also a scientist. They bring him in. They're like, "Oh, I just need you for science." But he's like, "I know you want the Hulk. Like, don't try to trick me." And they're like, "We're not gonna trick you. We just really want your science." And he's like, "You don't really want my science. You have a Hulk." And it's like, "No, but for real, they want the Hulk, right?" Or maybe both. You can have both. Why not? Okay, we got like a million other movies to go on, so I'm gonna try to like hurry up. So, anyways, so Shield brought in Hulky and Black Widow and Captain America, and then Iron Man is like, I was considered one time for this thing, so I'm gonna do it, even though they were like, look, you're very unreliable and you're a loose cannon, so it's not safe. But okay, whatever. And then Thor shows up because like Loki is his brother, and his dad was like, get your brother, he's freaking heaven on earth. That's not cool. Like, it's like really like bad for us. It's so awkward. And Thor was like, yeah, I know, like it's really awkward. So yeah, what stuff happens. And then they're in New York, of course, and they open a portal using the Tesseract. Loki does, and he brings the alien army that Thanos said he could have, and they start like destroying New York. I mean, there's like large centipede monsters, these big old aliens, and this is where Black Widow badass. Like people would say, "Oh, she's standing there." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She literally like hit an alien, jumped up on his back, and stuck knives in his shoulders and rolled him around in the sky in a sky glider. And she's got no powers. And these fools are just chilling there, or like doing. I mean, they're fighting too, but like that's really impressive. And she like she throw us some stuff, and like they really need that thing, so it's like really impressive. And so it ends up Iron Man almost not making it. He goes and throws a bomb, I think, and they think we nuked the aliens. Oh my god, do we nuke the aliens in Avengers 1? That's like, I mean, do you think they're used to the chemicals? That's really messed up. Who are we, society, that we're just gonna nuke everything? I mean, it was really crazy, but like a lot of people live in New York. Anyways, it's Avengers 1. I gotta look at my. Okay. Alright, so on the timeline, then we have Guardians of the Galaxy. I feel like you don't need to know about them. Okay, basically. Oh, yeah, we do need to know about them. Just kidding. Oh, just kidding. We have other things to talk about first. Okay, Thor 2, Thor Dark World. This is the worst Thor, even worse than the first one, which was not very good. Basically, what happens in Thor Dark World is, all you really need to know about Thor Dark World is that him and I think Natalie Portman break up in this one, or like they get together and then later they do break up. And there's like this thing called the ether, and it's like this red goop that dark elves want, and it makes you go crazy, or like you can like make other people go crazy or whatever. And then the Asgardians have it. That's what you need to know about that. Iron Man 3 is a really good movie too. All the Iron Mans are pretty good. And in this one, they have like what happens? Oh, Iron Man has PTSD from Avengers 1, which is like, dude, you went into a wormhole into space and you nuked aliens, didn't even know. You didn't even know any of the planets there that could be damaged by the nuke. So I like understand why you got PTSD, but like, damn, go to therapy, please. And then he fights this guy who called himself the Mandarin, which this character was created and like it's like kind of racist, you guys, like very racist, like an Asian guy named the Mandarin. Okay, you couldn't think of anything better? Okay. You got anyways. Turns out he was actually not a terrorist. He was an actor hired by a rival weapons company that gives people powers called AIM. That's pretty much all you need to know about Iron Man 3. Okay, now Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is so you know how I mentioned the Kree and planets? Well, there's all kinds of planets in the galaxy full of aliens, full of stuff going on, full of their own drama, full of their own crimes, full of their own wars. And pretty much it seems most other planets have space travel very openly available to the public except for Earth because we're slow as hell in the galaxy. And there's these fools. Chris Pratt is this guy named Star Lord who is an Earthling, and he got kidnapped in the 80s when he was a kid. And he's this cassette tape, and that's why it's like all 70s music, 80s music. People like this movie because it's a good movie. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's like, let's call it for what it is. People love the nostalgia. It's funny. Zoe Saldana is in it, and she's actually a daughter of Thanos. Remember Thanos, the big purple guy who gave the aliens to Loki, right? So what Thanos does, he like adopts quote unquote these children because he's like known for a destroyer of worlds. Like he'll just like kill people or whatever. And so sometimes he'll like take some children and then force them to be his warlords. Dark. So he takes them to be warlords, and then one of them is Zoe Saldana, whose name is Gamora. She's got her red hair and green skin. She's a baddie for sure, and she like really low key hates Thanos just as much as everyone else because like she can't stand him because he's like so torturous and stuff. And she decides to go against him. So they're looking for this orb. Excuse me. Oh my god. Looking for this orb. And it's real powerful. And then there's also Groot, who is like a living tree person who is voiced by Vin Diesel, and all he says is "I am Groot" in different inflections. And like, good for you, Vin Diesel, for locking down that little work, and you probably paid like $1 million or a lot of money. Good for you, Vin Diesel. And then Bradley Cooper is Raccoon Rocket, which is a talking raccoon who is like an alien type situation. He's real smart. And then there's Drax, who is this bald-headed guy who I forgot the actor's name, but he's like good fighter. He's real literal and like he don't understand metaphors. It's more of a joke. You don't really know about him. Anyways, the point of it is those are the people in the galaxy. They become ragtag team as always, and they get the purple orb and they give it to, I believe, Benicio del Toro, who is this guy called the Collector. Or no, they give it to the Creep. Anyway, it's out of Thanos' hand. Okay. Okay, and then we go straight to Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Okay, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, so you know how, like, remember at the at the end when I didn't explain? Basically, like, Star-Lord, which is Chris Pratt, held on to the orb, and it was, like, almost killed him, but he didn't die. And they were like, actually, you're not a full Hume. You're only half Hume. He's like, what? I'm only half Hume, but I'm from Earth. Who is my Papuli? Turns out his Papuli is this literally living planet named Ego, the living planet, who is played by Kurt Russell. And lo and behold, he's like kind of a bad guy. And once they basically impregnates all these women across the galaxy and then makes them bear his offspring, and then he eats his offspring because that's just like what gets him off, I guess. I guess he couldn't order pizza or something. I don't know why you get your own kids. That's weird. And he was about to eat Star-Lord, but like he's got his friends. And turns out he's a celestial, which is not like accurate to the comics, but all you know is that he's a celestial, which is a really old, really powerful type of critter. Okay, he's half that and half human. Okay. Okay, I think we're halfway through. Oh, no, we're not. Okay, anyways, we are now on the second Avengers movie called Avengers Age of Ultron. Okay, So basically, everyone's friends and everyone's besties are besties, right? Everyone has a bestie, a bestie, a bestie. Everybody's got bestie, right? Um, and so what had happened is that Tony, Tony Stark with his PTSD and everything, he gets real paranoid about more aliens, which honestly he should. There's like hella aliens they don't even know about because they're just screwing around Earth, right? And he's like, you know what? I'll make a bunch of robot soldiers. And everyone's like, okay. Um, and of course it backfires him, like technology. They go all out robot immediately. And the robot, his name is Ultron, and he just wants to kill humans and like, cause he thinks they're all stupid, which he's not wrong. And Tony is like, you know what? I done goofed, y'all. I did a goof. Oopsie poopsie. And so there's a lot of strife. And then Ultron recruits these two people from Hydra that have superpowers. One of them can run real fast, and his name is Quicksilver. And another one could do like mess with your mind and lift stuff up and stuff like that. And her name is Scarlet Witch, played by one of the Olsen twins' other sisters, who's not the twin, Elizabeth. But her name is Wanda. And Scarlet Witch. That's all her names. Anyways, so they're like fighting Ultron, right? And he's trying to get some vibranium. And I didn't mention vibranium before because I forgot about it till right now. And so what vibranium is a super rare metal that actually Captain America's shield is made of, which I believe in Captain America's shield in the comics is an alloy of vibranium and also whatever Wolverine's steel antimantium is that, but we don't know about Wolverine yet, so it's just vibranium. It's really like expensive. It's really from this small country named Wakanda. Put a pin in that one, okay? So they're like fighting Ultron, and Scarlet Witch, because she can give people visions or whatever, gives them all the visions. Sorry, my hair is itchy. Gives them visions, and then Thor, because he knows more of the stuff, because he's super old, like he's 100 years old. He knows about planets, he knows about dimensions, like he knows a lot of stuff. So basically, he has a vision saying basically Thanos wants the Infinity Stones. What are Infinity Stones? So Infinity Stones are these magical stones that basically make up the universe. So remember the Tesseract, the one they wanted in the first movie? No, it's just in a box. It's actually a blue space stone because it's like space, right? And then, you remember that goo in Thor 2, the not that good movie? Turns out the goo was a facade. It's really the red stone. It's the reality stone. And remember that orb in Guardians of the Galaxy that he touched and was like, wow, that's a lot. That's the purple power stone. And there is, wait, how many are there? Hold on, let me look it up. I'm cheating. Okay, hold on. How many infinity? So that's 6. There's 6. So yeah. And then another one we find about is, you remember when Thanos gave Loki that staff to get people to do what he says? In the staff, there's a yellow stone called the Mind Stone. So they're trying to find Ultron. It's super hard, and so Tony Stark has this Siri, but she's not Siri. She's they call him Jarvis. He's like a really advanced AI, and we thought Ultron had killed, not Ulta. Ultron had killed Jarvis because computer on computer crime, but turns out he didn't. Jarvis was still alive. So I don't know why Tony thought of this. He's like, all right, let me just make like a humanoid, a synthesoid. It's basically kind of like organic robot, if that makes sense. Like you're still a robot, but like you have I don't know, I don't know. It's not real science. So all you know is like he's like a cyborg, whatever. And they're like, okay, let's put the mind stone in the middle of his brain. So I don't know why they decided to do that. I really don't remember, but basically they're like, this is a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea. All right, whatever. It's too late. Already happened, right? And so he comes alive. He's like, sentient. And he's like, oh, I'm like, his name is Vision. He's like, I think he's called Synthesoid. And so they're like, I don't know if we could trust you. Like, you have the Mind Stone, and the Mind Stone really fucked us over before. Remember in the first movie, you guys? And then he's like, you don't have to trust me, but we gotta stop Ultron. Here's this. And he picks up Thor's hammer. And as we learned in Thor, the first one, only if you're worthy. And earlier in this movie, I forgot to mention, they all went around the room and tried to pick it up. Like Tony tried to pick it up, catch it back. They both, nobody could pick it up. So the fact that this fool could just like pick it up and he was just born like right now means he's a good guy. He means like, okay, guys, we could trust this guy. Okay, and in this part of the movie, so I forgot to mention that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are from this little um fictional Eastern European country called Sokovia. And for whatever reason, they end up doing battle there, and then they switch sides, like, oh, actually, Ultron is evil, and he's gonna kill all humans, so, like, we'll back y'all up. And so they back them up, and then Shield comes, yada yada. And basically, through all this destruction and wreckage, they, like, Ultron, like, literally lifts the country up because it's real, real tiny up in the air, and it basically gets destroyed. So it's like a huge PR disaster. And then while they're in there, Hulk becomes the Hulk, and then he gets trapped in the airplane in the Quinjet, called Quinjet, and he is disappeared. So after this movie, everyone's in shambles. Everyone's blaming the Avengers. They saved a lot of people, but like Tony did create this problem, and just no one's really feeling them like that anymore. Like he's like literally like got a whole country destroyed, like pretty much, right? So big old bummer on that one. So now we're gonna fit in the timeline Ant-Man. So Ant-Man, so you know how I was saying S.H.I.E.L.D. was created after World War II? Well, they actually had a bunch of superheroes and other stuff going around at that time that we don't know about sometimes. But now we don't know about this one. So back in like the 60s or whatever, they had Michael Douglas, who was Hank Pym. He created these particles that can shrink and also make things real, real big. So, real big or real small. Either or, not in the middles, right? And he had a wife who was Michelle Pfeiffer. So that was back in the day. And then now, how does it get? Anyways, Paul Rudd, who is like, I think he's like a math magician. He's not a scientist per se, but he is good at math, I believe, or different kind of science. And his name is Stephen Lang. Scott Lang, sorry. Scott Lang. And he like had a robbery or something. Basically, he teams up with Hank Pym. He gets to use his Ant-Man suit. And so with his Ant-Man suit with the Pym particles, he can come real, real big or real small. But also too, what he would do is he used like, I believe, pheromones or something to control ants, which you wouldn't think is that handy, but when you're real small, ants are actually real sturdy. Some of them can fly. They can like do stuff for you. They're really, really tiny. They can spy for you. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. And then Ant-Man's just a dude, and then he actually steals something from Avengers compound because they have a compound now. They have too many people that need to be compound. And then, oh, by the way, you know how I said everyone gets a bestie? Well, Captain America actually gets two besties, and like one of his besties is Falcon. Did we skip over the other Captain America? Then, anyways, whatever. The point is that he gets two besties. And Ant-Man's a person. Okay, now we're on to Captain America Civil War. Now, this is one of those movies, and then they tend to do this with the MCU, is that they'll, like, bill it as, like, one main character's movie, but it's, like, they have all the characters, so it might as well just be a dang old Avenger movie at this point, but it is a Captain America movie. We did miss a Captain America movie. Oh my god, we totally did. Okay, stupid list. Rewind. Press play. So after Avengers, they had like this Captain America movie with Black Widow in it, and essentially what happened is that turns out, that Hydra was long gone, and unpin that one because here's about to get revealed. Hydra, a lot of people had worked for Hydra, went to S.H.I.E.L.D. like nothing ever happened. And they basically created Hydra within S.H.I.E.L.D. So S.H.I.E.L.D. was no good. Like, you didn't know who to trust, who was on Hydra, who was on S.H.I.E.L.D. side. So it was like all had to implode. It's super crazy. And then they keep getting their asses kicked by this mysterious guy with a metal arm. Turns out, remember how, unpin this one too, remember how Bucky, he like fell off the train in Russia? Well, turns out the Soviets captured him and brainwashed him and made him to a sleeper cell agent named Winter Soldier, and he has his own serum and he has a metal arm. So he's pretty hard to fight. And he's fighting Captain America. Eventually, they become besties again. There we go. Now Civil War. So remember how everything happened in Sokovia and Avengers 2 and like everyone's like just pissed off and they're not following the Avengers? Well, so they start doing some government programs about it. This work gets into the philosophy and stuff. So Tony, like, because everyone knows Tony Stark, he like announced it. By the way, I don't know if I said that before, but like everyone knows that Iron Man, like, he's no secret identity. Everyone knows who he is, right? So it's just like a lot of bad press going on. The people are like so pissed off. So then I believe it's like General Ross, which is, you know, Hulk's girlfriend's Papuli. I don't know if he handles it. But anyways, one of these politicians, they basically propose a bill where it's called the Superhero Registration Act. And then these fools will have to register with their full name with the government. And there's what other implications? Do they got to fight wars? Do they need to do spying? Can they even do it? We don't know. That's like all up in the air. But Tony is like all gun ho. He's like, you know what? If this makes people feel comfortable, if it makes it feel safe, like, I'm down with the big government. I'm down with it. And then surprisingly, which I think people are surprised, because Captain America literally was like, he's Captain America. He was in the army and everything. He's like, oh, like a part of the, you know, good old boy. He's like, no, this is bad. It's bad vibes. I did this with S.H.I.E.L.D. and like it turned out S.H.I.E.L.D. was evil. Like, I'm telling y'all, like, we shouldn't go along with this registration act. And Tony's like, what the fuck, bro? Like, people are scared of us. They're scared of you because I don't got power. I'm just rich as hell. I mean, Jeff Bezos could do this too, but he doesn't. You know, there's like 5 other guys who could do this, right? And I'm just one of them who decided to do it. But you, they can't replicate you. They're scared of you. So, I mean, I can go into what I think of why he thinks that way, but that's the point. And the point is that there's 2 different sides. So basically, people start picking sides. So there's Captain America who are anti-registration act. So it's like his 2 besties, which is Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, no shit. And like, you know, like, Falcon, it's kind of awkward because Falcon, Winter Soldier, it's like, you know, you have friends who are like your friends, but they're not friends with each other. That's how they are. They're not friends with each other. They're not feeling each other at all. And he's got Ant-Man because he's like just a rando and he's just like such a sucker tag and he wants to be included. And then Scarlet Witch is with them. Oh, by the way, Quicksilver died in the other movie. He also died, so it's a bummer. I forgot to mention that too. Anyways, who else is on their side? Hawkeye, the archer guy who got brainwashed at the first Avengers. He's on Captain America's side. And then you have the Iron Man side, who's basically pro-registration act. So we got Iron Man's, Black Widow, because she's like a S.H.I.E.L.D. She's a company girl. Vision, because he's a robot who has feelings, but like he's a robot. He goes with the rules. He's a rule follower. We have Iron Man's best friend, War Machine. Like that, obviously, like your bestie's gonna go on your side. And then who am I? And then, in a crazy turn of events, that would never happen, Iron Man recruits their friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Yes, Spider-Man's in this movie. And he grabs Captain America's shield. And it's so awesome. And lots of good fighting. And, oh, by the way, Thor, they don't know where he is. He doesn't have a phone. He doesn't even have work email. And then Hulk was, you know, as we remember, put a pin in that one, is in the airplane in space. Nowhere to be found. So a lot of infighting happens, and we are introduced to also another character named Black Panther. And Black Panther is basically the protector of Wakanda. Remember how unpin this one. In the other Avengers 2, we talked about vibranium and it coming from Wakanda. Well, to the outside world, Wakanda looks like a poor country. But actually, an asteroid hit it like years and years ago, and they actually have like a shit. Like, they didn't have. Okay, we're gonna switch to my laptop camera, so sorry about that. Anyways, so turns out Wakanda super talented advance, and Black Panther, he like is super strong and he has like Panther outfit, and he's the king of Wakanda. And also in this movie, I forgot to mention, so they were on a mission. Another thing, bad thing about the PR, not Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, oopsie poopsie, and blew up a building. I believe it was a hospital in Africa. A lot of bad PR. A lot of bad PR. So that's why people don't like him. And then in another terrorist attack, Black Panther's Papuli, who was a past king of Wakanda, and then he had to take over for his Papuli, was murdered. So he is pro Registration Act. So that's why he's helping Iron Man, and he wants revenge on them other fools. And then stuff happens, and then Black Panther and Captain America eventually like see eye to eye, and they figure out who killed the papa. No, I think it was Winter Soldier. Honestly, I can't remember if it was Winter Soldier or not who killed his bad. But essentially, it's just basically like they kind of come to terms with it, and then through a turn of events, it turns out, that Iron Man's dad and mom were actually killed by Winter Soldier, Captain America's bestie. And it's like kind of awkward because, Captain America and Iron Man, they're kind of like the co-leaders of the Avengers, and they always like they're just like, will they or won't they? They're very like begrudgingly like friends, leaders, co-workers, like, there's always a fight, and then they're the ones who starts a war with their ideology. So it's like Iron Man is pissed. He's so pissed. And essentially after that, they go into hiding because, like, they don't want to be a part of the act or whatever. And Winter Soldier lives in Wakanda with Black Panther and the rest of them. That's what you gotta know about Captain America Civil War. Let's keep going. Okay, now we're in let's keep going. Okay, now we're in Black Widow. This happens after Civil War. Basically, what you need to know, what is a Black Widow, right? What is a Black Widow? So the Black Widows are actually like this super secret, super trained female spy agency under I think started Soviet Union, but like Russia currently, right? And basically these women are trained in like all kinds of hand-to-hand combat and killings, and had to like fake any personalities, and basically they're kind of I wouldn't say mercenaries or spies for hire, because it's like they really do shape they shape like historical events, and like, I mean, just think of a historical event and Black Widows were probably in on it, and they get them, like, they take these girls, like these women from like poor people or orphanages and stuff like that, and then like they literally train like 5-year-olds to murder. It's like really sad. They like train them to murder and kill, and they forcibly sterilize them, so they remove their uterus. So, downside, forced sterilization. Upside, no periods. I don't know. Not funny. So that's what, like, basically our Black Widow, because there's like multiple Black Widows. It's a whole kind of like type of spy. Our Black Widow, Natasha, she basically came out, like, left that program, and then joined Shield to be a better person. And that's kind of all you need to know about. Okay, Black Panther, is a really good movie, but relating to the MCU, I guess you really don't need to know much. It's just like I said or whatever, like, Wakanda is actually super advanced, and that's like, if you're saying, oh, if you're so advanced for so long, why did y'all like let slavery happen? And the movie is like, that's a great question. Anyways, it's a really good movie, but in terms of everything else, we got a lot of things going on. And speaking of a lot of things going on, but a great movie, Spider-Man: Homecoming, this Spider-Man being more Spider-Man. Yep. Oh, and by the way, in this new Spider-Man, which I appreciate this trend in superhero movies that like super popular characters that we had like 3 or 4 origin story movies. They just skip the origin part. They're just already doing it. And I appreciate, like, I know, I just, like, I seen the spider. I know he gets bit. Like, thank you for saving my time and your time. Because we all know what happened to him. We don't need another freaking movie. We don't need another 30 minutes of this, I don't know, 2-hour movie. That's a 1/4 of the movie. To the stuff we all already know. Right? Thank you. So Doctor Strange, okay. So Doctor Strange is Benedict Cumberbatch. Who was he? Sherlock Holmes. Was he one of the Doctor Who's? I don't think so. For sure, Sherlock Holmes. Anyways, he plays an American in this movie, and essentially, Doctor Strange, his literally name is Stephen Strange, which is like an awkward name. And he's just like a kind of an overall doucher, and he's a doctor, and he gets in a car accident, a surgeon. And his hands get so damaged beyond repair that he cannot like be a surgeon anymore. And he's like extremely bummed out. And so he ends up like turning into alternative medicine routes and like just oopsie poopsies become like a monk magician. How do you oopsie poopsie yourself into that position in life? I'll never know. Even though there was a movie explaining how he did it, but still I'll never know. And lo and behold, like blah 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 blah, not really that great of a movie. Rachel McAdams is like his girlfriend, and like he's just such a jerk. Like it's just a lot. It's a lot going on emotionally. And it like turns out like he ends up becoming the like Sorcerer Supreme, which is like the main bitch, right? And he gets this necklace with the Eye of Agamotto, which turns out it's another Infinity Stone, y'all. Remember there was like 2 more something to catch or to find, and he has the Time Stone because he like can like rewind stuff or fast forward things. So that's like you should fast forward through that movie because it's not a very good movie. Anyways, and then got Thor Ragnarok. What happens in Thor Ragnarok that you need to know? Actually, a lot. Just kidding. So Thor Ragnarok is by far a lot. Just kidding. So Thor Ragnarok is by far the best Thor movie. This is where they change directors, and it just like gets really good and really funny. It's like very funny, very campy, version of Thor. So it's like, what were you like? Everyone was like, so. I think I'm just gonna go to Endgame, you guys, because I think I like underestimated how long it would take me just to remember what happened in the movies. I'm just gonna go to Endgame, and then if you guys like this, we'll do the rest of them. Because it's it's a lot of movies and shows. We're not even to the shows. Oh my god. Anyways, Thor Ragnarok. So Thor's Papuli, who is Odin, who's like the king of Asgard or whatever, he kicks the bucket. Okay. And when he dies, it releases this portal. Turns out Loki and Thor have an older sister named Hela, who's like the goddess of death because she's so bloodthirsty, and she's got the coolest like antlers, like goth antler headpiece. And she was like, "Oh, our Papuli is trying to be all peace and love, but actually he was about war and hate when I was around before you'll even a twinkle in Daddy's eye." How do you think he controlled all the realms? But I was like 9 realms, but don't ask me what the difference between realms and other stuff is because I can't think of that right now. I'll explain to you later, okay? Just remember everything I'm saying too. Anyways, so Hela is like, she's super strong. and they're in for it. So I don't think I explained the mechanics of how they get from Earth to Asgard, but I guess now is where it actually matters. So basically, they like call this rainbow bridge. It's like a rainbow light that beams them up, but it takes a little bit while. So in the beaming up process, they fight Hela, and like both Thor and Loki end up on a random trash planet. Gross. And they basically capture Thor to a gladiator fight, and Jeff Goldblum's like the king of all the trash people, all the trash aliens. And so Thor goes to fight, and who does he fight? Oh my god, it's the Hulk. Remember how I said that, remember Avengers 2 when he got lost in the airplane in space? Well, turns out he went to this garbage planet and became like a gladiator or whatever for like however many 2-3 years he was up there. And like shenanigans happen, blah blah blah. They meet a Valkyrie, which is like, I guess in Norse mythology, the gals that like ride the pet, or I don't know in the mythology, but in the movie, she rides a Pegasus and is a fighter. Like everyone on Asgard is a fighter, just in general. And lo and behold, they meet up with Valkyrie. They go to Asgard. They get everybody off the planet, and like there's like a lava monster that is Ragnarok. I don't know. Basically, Asgard gets destroyed, and then Thor levels up, and they get Hulk back. Okay. And then Ant-Man and the Wasp. So all you gotta know about Ant-Man and the Wasp, the second Ant-Man movie, is that so Hank Pym, because Hank Pym was the old guy who created it, and then Scott Lang was Paul Rudd, and so what's his name? Michael Douglas's daughter, name, is it Hope? Is it Hope? Is it Hope? What is her? Now I gotta know her name, even though I call everyone else. Let me look it up. Oh yeah, it's Hope. Okay. So Hope Van Dyne, which is also Pym, she just goes by her mom's maiden name sometimes because she hates her dad. She gets her own suit so she can shrink and get big, but she also has wings so she can fly. And basically, I did not explain this in the first Ant-Man because I forgot this was an important factor, is that you can't go too small. Because you can go the size of an ant, like, okay, at least you can see an ant. But you know how, like, humans are made of cells and small as atoms and stuff like that? If you go so small, it's kind of like a traduction effect of smalling. So you'll just keep getting smaller and smaller forever. So, basically back in the 60s or whatever, that's how Hope's mom, she was the original Wasp. She went too small, and they couldn't find her again. She just kept shrinking. She kept on shrinking, and it was bad. So they couldn't find her. And so in the first Ant-Man movie, Ant-Man starts shrinking, but he riggers it out and messed with the little panel, and he was able to get a normal size again. And so basically what happens in the movie, and then they basically go to the quantum, they call it the quantum level, when they get really that subatomic small, and they find the mama and they bring her back. And then they start doing experiments, right? And then during the experiments and after credit scene, put a pin in that. Put a pin in that, because that's going to be really, really important. Oh my god, Infinity War. Okay, hold on, I'll be right back. Oh my god. So, you know, all of these movies have after credit scenes, all this stuff, and there's movies that I even skipped, have all been leading to this point. So, anybody and everybody's going to be in this movie, okay? It's crazy. It's shenanigans. So, you know how, like, Thanos was, like, you know, like, the antagonist in a lot of these movies, right? And he had, like, the daughters or whatever. So, he has gotten some stones, Infinity Stones. And essentially, like, what are these stones? They kind of, like, are just, like, cosmic items from the beginning of the universe that, like, keep our universe in balance or whatever. Like, they're really important. And essentially, like, everyone, like, is teaming up because of, like, whatever. So we got Space Team, and the Space Team is like Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy. That's Space Squad, and then we got Earth Squad, which is like pretty much everybody else. You love them. And so now Thanos is like, all right, I'm done for playing. I need to just do this to my stuff because obviously you bitches like are taking forever to do anything, and I just like want to do my evil plan. And his evil plan is like he's just like so like depresso espresso. He's like, you know what? There's just too much suffering in the universes, and I've got to make it my problem. So let's just kill half of all life, so there's more resources for everyone else. We're like, I feel like there's other solutions besides all of those things, like before just like mass genociding people, but whatevs, go off, right? And basically they're really unsuccessful. Like the Kevian Stones, Vision, he basically is a Mind Stone. Guess what, he dies because Thanos pulls it out of his head because he needs to have all of them. And then what happens? That's more. They're missing one stone called the Soul Stone, and basically you have to go to this like one random planet on this hill and go where it goes, and you have to go with somebody else because the price for that stone is basically pushing someone off that you love off the cliff and they die. So Thanos goes with Gamora, who's his adopted daughter, and she's like, well, you don't love me, you're a piece of shit. And he's like, no, I actually do love you as a father, but I love genocide more, so I'm going to push her ass over this cliff. And she dies. So down 2 soldiers. A really big fight at Wakanda happens. It's so good. I don't think I can explain it verbally, so it's just real good. Just gotta believe me. And so anyways, all this happens, and then Doctor Strange, who has a stone himself, so they're like the space squad is like, oh, we know Thanos is going to show up because he needs this time stone. So then Doctor Strange does some like meditation, and he like that's going all crazy, and basically he's going through all the different possible timelines and seeing a way they could beat Thanos and win. And he does that, and he tells Tony there's only, out of all like a couple hundred that I checked, because I don't got all day to do this, only one time, 1 out of 800 times or something like that we won. And so Tony's like, oh my god, I guess I'll believe you. Like, by the way, Tony and Doctor Strange are so funny together, but anyways, just believe me that they're funny, right? So they are ultimately unsuccessful, and Thanos gets all 6 stones, and basically he snaps his fingers, and basically half the life of all the planets in the universe, in the galaxy, like not just Earth, like everywhere, just disappear. They turn to dust, and they call that event the blip. So who dies from this? Black Panther is gone. Is Bucky still around? I can't remember. Spider-Man is gone. Doctor Strange is gone. Basically all the Ant-Man squad except for Ant-Man himself. So lo and behold, right? Remember I said that there was an after credit scene in that movie? Well, unpin that, because basically what happened was is that during the snap, Ant-Man was just like screwing around the quantum zone, like in the super small area, and the people on the outside, like Hank and all them, were supposed to bring him out. Well, they got blipped, so he got stuck in the quantum zone. Next movie, and the last movie we're gonna talk about today, oh my goodness, is Endgame. So as I said, it starts off, like I said, that Ant-Man comes out of quantum zone by oopsie poopsie. It's been 5 years since the snap, the blip. All half of life is gone. People are depressed, his loved ones, like people in the middle of stuff, on the toilet, whatever. It happened. So, and then in this time, Iron Man has a daughter with his longtime girlfriend, Gwyneth Paltrow. And he's really happy finally, but everyone's not happy. Like all their people are dead, like are like gone and like from the blip, like or like they were just disappeared. It's like crazy, right? And so, oh, I forgot. Oh, I totally forgot this. So before even Iron Man has a family, so you know how he was in space when all this happened? Well, he got stuck in space, and everyone pretty much was dusted away except for um Gamora's sister Nebula, this blue chick that has no hair. So it's just Nebula and Iron Man. They were like stuck in space for weeks or months or something. Like he was dying of starvation and lack of air. And then who shows up? Oh, remember Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, the one that who has power from Tesseract. She finds him and brings him back to Earth. And then after all this stuff happens, oh, I skipped the whole part. So basically, so when Iron Man comes back, they finally go and they find Thanos and they kill him. But like, you can't use this. Like, he's like, the stones are right there. They don't work anymore. I tried to do other stuff besides my one wish, but it's gone. Like, I just can't do it anymore. And so they're like, oh crap, we can't even use the stones to like do anything about this. And so then that's why it's like 5 years passes because like there's nothing they can do. And basically, because Ant-Man comes back, basically they kind of figure it out that quantum getting really small also relates to time travel for movie reasons, right? They explain it in fake science or maybe real science. Who am I to judge? Because I wouldn't know if it's real or fake. Anyways, they figure that out. So they're like, all right, because we can't use our stones, we'll go back in time using Pym particles, using the quantum technology that get real small to go through time. And we could do that. And they're like, okay, but we only have so many particles because the guy who knew how to make them or had the recipe, he got snapped away. Hank Pym. So we don't know where he's. So they like are mapping, okay, where are the stones? And so some of the stones are in Asgard. Some of the, like at one time, remember Avengers 1? Remember Avengers 1 where they had Loki use the Tesseract to open the wormhole? And Loki used the Staff of the Mind Stone. And then you know how Doctor Strange has it? Well, the Sorcerer Supreme always has it, and there's always an office in New York. So it's like at one time, there's like 3 stones in New York City. So they go back in time, do a time heist. Shenanigans ensue. They get the stones. And then do a switcheroo with Nebula, and it's like the bad one and the old one, yada 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 yada. And then basically in the nickel back of time, they're able to get all the stones, and they basically, because like Iron Man had a daughter, so he's like, okay, bring people back, but like don't make it just restart because I still want to have my daughter, and I have my daughter in the 5 years. He's like, just bring everybody back, and then everything that happened. It's just like those people that were gone, they're just not back. I don't know where. So basically, have the population of everything just all of a sudden came back to the exact spot they were leaving at. So like, let's say you were taking a shit 5 years ago, and you got blipped, and then the new family that got your apartment remodeled and now it's a closet, you would come back to like you shitting in a closet. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, they fight, blah, 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 blah. And then they thought they were going to win. But then, of course, because they're messing with time, and they already killed their Thanos, but like 2015 Thanos is not dead. And they bring his ass back. So they got to fight all the, and the Chitauri, they already fought. Like all them, they brought them from the past. They brought them to Earth again. They're like, oh my god, who keeps leaving the door open? Like we need to get a protocol or something. And so since they already had the stones from the other wish, basically, and it was really like Hulk did it because it just takes a lot of people. Basically, a fight happens, and the person who ends up doing it is Iron Man, and he basically snaps the uses the stones to make all the aliens disappear and Thanos disappear forever. And that process kills him because it's just too much power, and it's really sad. And then that is the end of the movie. And like they save everyone, and it's just like a lot of things were lost, but like a lot of things were gained. And Tony did die. And then because they had to put the stones back exactly where they found them, or mess up the timeline, right? And when doing the stones back, Captain America's like, I'll just do it. I'll just drop it off at the store. I don't care. And he goes, but actually, he went to go back in time because you know how he was frozen. And he went to go live with Peggy Carter, and then he was an old man. The end. So thank you for listening to this podcast of me explaining the MCU and my thoughts on comic book culture. If you want to do a part 2, let me know, and we can do all like the new shows and the new movies, because this is like there's still more after this. All right, make sure you leave a review or something, and follow me on Instagram, Spotify. Okay, bye.